Hello everyone, we all hope that you're keeping well. We are some of the 30 peace advocates and advanced peace advocates at the Douglas Yurt. We're excited to speak to you about our vision for a peace garden. This idea was started by 9 advanced peace advocates in 2019. We've expanded our vision with the current peace advocates and we're now wanting to speak to as many people as possible to get our vision out there and hopefully get support and people to contribute. To start off, we wanted to talk about what peace means. A lot of people believe that peace is only related to wars ending, like the world wars. However, we wanted to represent a different type of peace in our garden. To demonstrate what we mean, we asked some of the pupils at Douglas Yurt High School to write down what peace means to them, and this is what they said. Peace means having equality, collaboration, and the ability to feel comfortable with yourselves and others. The ability to feel happy, calm, and feeling positive about yourself and the situations you are in. Having a mindset which brings upon positive change. Having an open and calming space to sit, to relax, and to reflect. The ability to solve or reduce conflict within ourselves and with others. Everyone being united, accepting, and equal. This charity was set up by Keith and Jean Best, is devoted to try and develop skills in young people, which are required for being successful team players and leaders in the 21st century. When we started our advocacy, Keith and Jean both pointed out how a lot of leaders today cannot have a conversation without conflict. They said this was one of the reasons they started the programme and showed us how to effectively communicate so we as future leaders could be more effective at communicating and finding ways to overcome our disagreements and conflict. These skills have already been effective in our lives, from university interviews to solving disagreements with others to solving them within ourselves. Obviously, right now we're under exceptional circumstances with the current coronavirus pandemic, and we feel Peace Project has really helped us throughout this time, from helping us deal with new conflict that may have occurred in our lives due to families being confined to their households, and it's helped us with the change in our lifestyle the current situation has brought upon us, like being more isolated with potentially less to do. I'll now pass you on to Hamish.
So you might be wondering, what exactly does Peace Project facilitate? Obviously, our main principles are developing our communication skills through techniques called collaborative communication and purposeful listening. We have learned how we can use these communication techniques to resolve conflict. We have practiced through role-playing scenarios in real life. This program has also built big skills, such as being accepting of everyone and never judging someone, as you never know what their situation is. All of us have built our confidence through this program in various ways, from now feeling confident to public speaking and even feeling comfortable speaking out in a group. Our idea for the garden is to create an inviting space that can enhance the community spirit. We are experiencing right now and build upon it to create a garden that shows this strong community, that creates a safe space and helps health and well-being of the town. And when we come out of this pandemic, if future events happen, we can help ourselves get through it. That is why we want everyone in this community to be involved in this project, from primary schools to businesses, because then we believe the garden will reflect our whole community. We hope to create a peaceful and calming space to reflect the environment we have in our local areas. We hope that by enhancing the feature of our area, we could hopefully eventually get Newton Stewart to be known as a health and well-being town. As hope, the garden can be a place where people can go and relax and interact with, which will help mental health and as well as encourage people to take in some of the beautiful walks in the surrounding area, which I think we have all realized we took for granted during this period. We looked into various locations and concluded that the Albert Street Garden would be the best location for this project, as it's central to the town and it will encourage many people to use it. As you can see in this picture, the garden has a beautiful banking, which is being looked after by the women's group. We don't want to change this, as it's such an amazing feature of this garden. Our idea is to enhance the rest of the garden to be as appealing as its banking. I will now pass you over to Cara.
An obvious issue with this garden is accessibility. The steps are quite steep, uneven, and can be slippery. We are looking into various options to overcome this, such as possibly getting a grant for a lift or creating some disabled car parking spaces behind the garden. This idea was discussed at a Rotarian meeting. We want to create an accessible walking path for everyone to use. This photo shows the rest of the garden. Compared to the banking, it isn't nearly as appealing, so we want to do our work on this part of the garden. This garden has such a potential for being an amazing space for everyone to use. We're hoping by developing this space, it will encourage more people to use it. The garden is not massively used, and many of the peace advocates did not realise this garden was so big. It may not be clear in the photos, but the garden has a beautiful view looking onto our local hills. These views seen from our local area are praised on, and tourists love the range of different walking paths available. A lot of people from the city love coming to our area to walk around our countryside. They find it a peaceful escape from their hectic lives. In our garden, we want it to reflect a place people can come to find peace. I'll now pass you back over to Hamish.
The back entrance, as you are seeing now, obviously has some issues, as it isn't very appealing to anyone coming in from this side of the garden. In our work to the garden, we would have fixed this to make it more appealing to everyone. This was the area where there was the potential to build a disabled parking space. So how do we want to tie in the whole community? We want to include everyone from primary schools to voluntary organisations to businesses, and we have an idea that we would like everyone to contribute to the garden. We would like each cluster of primary schools to contribute drawings to a bench. We want the Douglas Stewart High School to contribute an arch and the pathways in the garden. And we would like businesses to buy a plot which they could fill how they please. Whether this is a sculpture of a flower bed, or any other creative ways they can think of. The voluntary organisation would have a space on the fence to fill with a canvas. All the aforementioned ideas would reflect their ideas on health and well-being and how they contribute to making the community more resilient and able to keep a community in these times of the pandemic and beyond. So our first idea for the garden was to have an arch that would be seen from the road to encourage people to come up and investigate the rest of the garden. The photo is something we would aim towards, but instead of having Wonderland written on the arch, we would have our slogan, Piece by Piece. Our idea was roughly drawn up by one of our peace advocates to show how it will combine the two paths and how everyone comes in from the Main Street entrance will walk through the arch. In this drawn picture, you can also see the wall that will feature the canvas and possibly a section for sculptures. I will now pass you over to Maria.
An idea of what the primary benches may look like can be seen on the left corner. As you can see, the tiles would be drawings that the primary school youngsters did and would make up the bench. We also saw this idea of granite blocks with quotes on them. We thought this would be a nice idea to add into the garden, as it would have quotes or poems about peace. We thought we would show ideas of sculptures that we thought we would show ideas of sculptures that we found that we thought could show the idea of what we were thinking for the garden. The first picture is a peace tree where the leaves have written on them what peace means. We thought this was a nice idea as people could come and attach their ideas of what peace means to them onto the tree. The next design celebrates the local community by having words that reflected their community and park on each leaf. This design could be used to reflect the environment we live in. Now passing on to Connie.
We thought the fish sculpture could be possible to repeat with a dove in our garden, as doves are an obvious symbol of peace. We loved the idea of a maze, as it's an interactive way to get people up to the garden, particularly younger children, and we could have a sculpture to represent peace in the middle. The hands in this next photo represent the hand of Martin Luther King in his speech. We really liked this idea because he obviously stood for equality and acceptance of everyone, which is a large part of our values in the Peace Project. We already have Charlotte Benny and Castle Hearing wanting to contribute a sensory garden to our garden, and we would love for more people and organisations to join us in this project by contributing the aforementioned things, canvas or plots. This has many benefits for you as it creates a space you and everyone else can use. It could help you feel a bigger part of our community, and ultimately it's free advertising for your organisation. We would also just like to thank you all for listening to us and hope you remain well. We will take any questions on the email address on this slide.